Welcome guys. Patch 24.1 is about to hit PUBG, and this is a tough one, guys, because I'm not sure I quite like this, to be honest. The main thing that's happening in this patch, apart from all the new map rotations and stuff, which you can just see in the patch notes, is that now tactical gear are receiving a massive overhaul. Like, it's basically going to be working completely different from what you're used to. So in the beginning of the game, you choose what tactical gear you want to use. That means you get this tactical carrier box in your inventory at the beginning of the game. Then you have to choose which of the 6 tactical gear you want, and that's the one you have to stick with for the entire round, unless you die and get revived, because then you won't get any new tactical gear. And with this addition of this tactical gear crate that you get in the beginning, then you're no longer going to have to pick up tactical gear throughout the game. It simply won't spawn anywhere. And also, when you carry it, it's going to go in a new item slot, the 6th slot. Yeah, that almost sounds like a bad title for a movie. And the first thing you might notice when you see this is that there's a new all-in-one repair kit, and we'll get to that. But before we get to that, I want to talk a bit about the tactical gear that you know today, because overall, they've been nerfed quite a lot. First of all, the EMT gear is now completely useless as to how a lot of people, I think how most people were using it. It won't work as a solo anymore. So you're not going to get the fast healing that you'd used to do when you are solo. That means it's now entirely an item that you use to heal others with. And also, the revive time has been nerfed. It used to be 3 seconds, which, yeah, that was very fast, but perhaps also the biggest motivation of using it in a squad or duo game, that's now 8 seconds instead of 3. So just these changes to the EMT, I don't see any reason to choose the EMT at all. The tactical pack is also getting nerfed. However, even though it's going from 4 slots to 2, you have to think about it like this. You can have it equipped at all time. It doesn't take up a weapon slot. So in theory, yeah, you could run around with 2 Panzerfaust ready at your disposal at any time. I mean, just think about it. Everyone running around with potentially 2 Panzerfaust in a tactical pack at all time. Interesting. But is it good? I'm not sure. Next is the spotter scope. That is getting a buff because it very much needed that, as it was the worst. But it's getting an increased zoom from 4 to 8 times, which is, I guess, helpful, especially since it's going to be in a 6th slot. And also, the white marker that is passively being created when you use the scope is no longer going to be there. Instead, there's going to be a red marker that you can actively place by clicking the button and holding it on the target. And then that will be maintained for 7 seconds after a scan. So you can essentially spot enemies the way it was initially designed to be used as. The drone is getting nerfed and having its maximum range reduced from 300 meters to 200 meters. Something I'm very sad to see, because this is probably my second most favorite tactical gear. Feels a little bit unnecessary, but then again, if everyone starts potentially with a drone, I guess I can see why they have to nerf it, since they're doing it like that. And now for perhaps the most controversial item in the tactical pack, the blue chip detector. Everyone will be able to, if they so choose, to start with a blue chip detector, which, as you know, is basically a heartbeat detector. There are some changes though. It will not pulse and update locations of enemies every 5 seconds. It will now do it every 8 seconds. And also the scan radius is going to be 50 meters down from 100. So it's going to be close quarters. You're going to use it inside of a compound, perhaps to check an apartment building if anyone is hiding in any of the floors. But there's another twist. If a player has a jammer pack equipped, they are undetectable with the blue chip detector. So perhaps it's not really going to be throughout the mid and end game that the blue chip detector will really change the dynamic of the game. Although I do think it will, considering that literally every single player on the map could have one that they can use every 8 seconds with unlimited charges and unlimited battery and all that kind of stuff. I think this is the biggest problem with a hot drop. Every single hot drop, whether that be boot camp, whether that be school on a Rankle, whether that be Picado on a Miramar, doesn't matter. everyone can potentially have a blue chip detector. And I think in solo, that's going to be definitely the best choice. Very few people will have a jammer pack that they can just pick up instantly from the ground to block that signal from the blue chip detector. So it's just going to be a different dynamic. Instead of having tactics where we look using our eyes, we peek, we move around to get the proper angles to spot enemies without ourselves getting killed and getting in a bad position. And we use our ears to listen for enemy footsteps. And perhaps if you don't want to be detected, you kind of try to move more quietly to not be detected. All those things goes away when you can just see the location of the enemy on a screen. I mean, I just think this is a terrible change, really. And this alone here makes me think that this is the patch I'm the most worried about since the implementation of bots. So, not very excited about this, guys. If I have to mention something positive about this, it is that you can locate blue chips that have been looted from your teammates and then dropped in a bush or whatever to hide them from you. You can find that with the blue chip detector. So it is possible to see blue chips that have been dropped on the ground with the blue chip detector. Also, it will still reveal loot boxes of enemies or just any player where the blue chip is still inside. So there will be dots on the blue chip that aren't actively live players. But still, even if I highlight this as something positive, I still feel like the solution to enemies stealing your blue chips and hiding them in bushes, this is not the right solution for that problem. And now for the all-in-one repair kit, which is now finally combining all the repair kits in the game. You know, the helmet, vehicle, and vest repair kit. That's a good thing. I like that. That's a good change. It also means that they're removing all the repair kits from the loot table. And it also means that you can use these repair kits on all maps. So far, so good. I think this is okay. You're going to be able to choose this repair kit as your tactical gear and have up to 10 repairs. Yeah, that means you can potentially repair your vest and helmet 10 times. You can also repair a vehicle 10 times. What do we always wanted with this repair kit when it comes to vehicles? The ability to repair tires. It seemed a little bit unnecessary to only have it work to repair the durability of the vehicle, because usually that's not why you stop driving a vehicle. It is because the tires are popped and the vehicle is immobilized and not actually damaged to the point where it's almost destroyed. So they're doing this in kind of a weird way, I think. So the way this is going to work is that now you can, using the kit, remove tires from existing vehicles. Yes, you can remove the tire, put it in your inventory, potentially give it to a friend in your team or whatnot, and then you can mount it on a vehicle that has a pop tire. So in order to repair a tire, you need to first remove one from a vehicle that has a fresh tire, which is definitely not something you're often going to be having access to in that situation where you just really need that tire to be fixed. So you have to do this in advance, all right? Okay, and you have to have these tires in your backpack, which is going to have a weight of 20 in your inventory. So you're going to run around with these tires that you might need. Already here, I'm not a big fan. And then you have to mount the tire. I just feel like this is, I mean, it's pretty realistic, so to say, that you can't just magically fix the tire when it's popped. But I mean, there's so much magic in this game. I mean, I healed bullet holes with a Red Bull. I magically teleport between seats. We'll have to see, guys. I'm not a big fan of this. I think it's goofy, and I think I'm probably gonna have a laugh at this, and it's gonna be pretty fun to see. But I think it's going to be very impractical in actual gameplay. One thing worth mentioning before we get to the Vikendi updates, which by the way are good, is that the emergency pickup, blue zone grenade, jammer pack, mortar, and Panzerfaust will now spawn on all maps, including in ranked. Yes, so you're going to be firing Panzerfausts in ranked. I mean, ranked is very stale, I think. It's not as playful as I would want it to be entertained, so I always play normal games. Overall, I think that's quite cool, but it all really comes down to the spawn rates. If, for example, there are Panzerfaust everywhere in a ranked game, that's not going to be good. So, I mean, the spawn rates has to work for this to be good. And now for the updates to Vikendi. Vikendi has 3 major flaws, the way I see it. Certainly, there are other things that could be improved too, but like the 3 major flaws of the map Number one, the very open terrain that often completely prevents any kind of tactical movement or positioning because you're just out there in the flat open and you're going to be dead if you don't have a vehicle. They're updating the map now and the terrain to have more cover. There's, like in this screenshot, for example, you have more trees. Like there's just overall going to be more cover to work with. So I think depending on how impactful that is overall that's a good improvement. I'm not sure if they're going far enough with this, but we'll have to wait and see for that. And then you have one of the other major issues with Vikendi, which are the circle settings. That is getting an improvement in the early phases of the game, but not in the end phases. In the early phases of the game, the circle time will be shortened down just like they did on the other 8x8 maps. So that's a good thing. But we still need those endgame circles on Vikendi to be faster because they're just way too slow, which is probably my biggest complaint with that map, I think. Yeah. They're also changing the item and vehicle spawns of the map. And here we come to my third biggest complaint with the map, the vehicle spawns. They're going to make it easier to find vehicles. And it doesn't actually look like they're going to increase the vehicle spawn rate, but I think they're going to make it more obvious where the vehicles are and place them in better locations. So we'll see how good that's going to be. But that's a good thing because that's very, very frustrating. The item spawn is also going to be changed on Vikendi. So you're going to have less of these extremely good weapons from airdrops spawning around in different places. It's going to be less powerful overall what you find outside of the airdrop crates themselves. The Blizzard Zone is also getting more playroom on the map. Something, I kind of like the Blizzard Zone. I thought it was pretty cool when you finally end up in this poor visibility situation, which happened almost never for me because it always spawns it's very small. It spawns very far away from the circle. And it just didn't work. So what they're doing now is that they're increasing its size. They're going to make it more frequent. They're going to have the distance between them change. So we might see a better spread. And also they're going to adjust the phases of which it occurs. And they're not specific with this, but hopefully that means that it's also going to be spawning inside the circles more instead of just outside the circles that it used to do. Hopefully we'll see some more cool situations with the Blizzard. The cable car has gotten a significant speed increase of 80%, so it's going to move much faster now. And then there's some changes to the combat BR, how the crowbar, like blah, blah, blah. So the rest of the stuff I think is less significant. You can check that out in the patch notes if you're really curious. Also, there is a new Survivor Pass, and I know you guys love me reviewing Survivor Pass and stuff. And I mean, it's okay. It's a decent season pass. Nothing special. Weapon skins, vehicle skins, charms, all kind of clothing skins. A Stormtrooper helmet, which is awesome, obviously. I think this is overall okay. And if you're going to buy this, please make sure to use my creator code on accounts.crafton.com. I'll very much appreciate that, guys. Thank you. So to round this off, guys, not so happy with this patch, obviously, but also do think it's quite important that we try the content before we form an actual opinion on how this is going to work in actual gameplay. Make sure that you let your opinions be heard on the PUBG forum, on the PUBG Discord, on PUBG Reddit, on Twitter, on social media, because that way we can get that feedback across to PUBG and they can make appropriate adjustments to the game. So we end up with the game we would love to play, right? Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time.